Hello everyone, my name is Biko, and welcome to episode 2 of my Fields of Hyrule series, where I, a brand new Planet Coaster player, am attempting to build out the world of Zelda in the form of a theme park in Planet Coaster 2. In episode 1, we built Hyrule Castle and the main plaza fountain. If you haven't seen that one, feel free to check out the playlist on my channel to catch up. In this episode, we will tackle the iconic Temple of Time, which will be inspired by the Ocarina of Time version from the N64. I hope you all enjoy. Subscribe if you're interested in watching the progress of this park, and if you want to participate in suggestions, feedback, etc. Anyways, let's jump into it. Alright, so in the first episode I mentioned that I kind of fumbled the whole recording and editing timeline, so there were and continue to probably be some discrepancies in terms of like the order in which you're seeing things on screen and kind of what's actually being highlighted in the episode. So apologies for that, I promise. I think I got it sorted now, so from like episode 4, maybe 3, the video should better reflect where I'm actually at in terms of progress, and will continue going forward in the series. So yeah, just wanted to get that disclaimer out of the way. And then instead of making a full episode on just the main plaza build out theming, I'm instead gonna just kind of run through a quick highlight montage type deal, which you're watching now, of maybe like one of the buildings and maybe some arrangement of how I wanted to kind of like orient some of the buildings in terms of, you know, where they're facing and whatnot, where they're placed. Again, like I mentioned in episode 1, I did a lot of these specific buildings, except for the one that you're watching now, on my first kind of go around with the game. I think I mentioned, well, I definitely mentioned in episode 1 that I've already kind of attempted this, but I wasn't super happy with where it was going. I wanted to kind of take a step back, take what I learned, give it another go, with a more organized thought process and kind of like a better outline of how I want things to flow and be arranged and whatnot. So yeah, some of these you're gonna see are already built out. Like there's that building in the corner that I made into kind of like a sit-down restaurant type deal, things like that. But this building here, this is a brand new build. Honestly, when I first finished this building, like it was cool, but I felt like it more resembled like a New Orleans type of structure, you know what I mean? Like kind of like that swampy type look to it. I don't know how to explain it. It reminds me of like Red Dead 2, where they're in that kind of like the bayou region of that game. It kind of reminds me of a building that would belong there. So I ended up, I don't know if I'll show it on screen here, but at the end of kind of like this main plaza shot, you'll see in the middle I decided to kind of build up a little bit of a tower sort of deal to kind of eliminate that New Orleans look and make it more of this like, you know, Ocarina of Time, Castle Town type of vibe. And ultimately my goal here with like this main plaza is not to like, it's not a one-for-one representation of Castle Town from Ocarina of Time, but I'm hoping to kind of hit that chord where you look at the structures, you look at the architecture of some of these buildings, and it kind of reminds you of Ocarina of Time and Castle Town, and you know that little area right outside of the Temple of Time and Hyrule Castle. And I'm also realizing that probably about 95% of this park is going to be influenced by Ocarina of Time, and that's just mostly because it's such a huge part of my childhood and probably any other millennial's childhood who played video games growing up. So yeah, a lot of it is going to be grabbed from memories of that game. Not necessarily looking to, again, one-to-one replicate the game, but it's going to be inspired and kind of like referencing my memory of playing that game when I was a kid. But the meat and potatoes of this episode is going to be focused on the Temple of Time building, which I'm actually pretty proud of. I think I sort of nailed the look and feel of the structure pretty well when referencing the Ocarina of Time. I'll probably throw up an image of the game version of the building here. Unfortunately though, I had this entire build time-lapsed, edited down so that you could see the entire process, but when I went to import that footage into this project, it was corrupted, so only 8 minutes of the 25 plus minute time-lapse made it through to this version of the project. So that sucks, but I'm going to at least share that part with you here, and then we'll get into the theming of the queue as well before we call it an episode. The footage of this is obviously taken not from the park that I'm currently showcasing in this series, but my first go at the park, like I mentioned. So you see the old Hyrule Castle there, which is actually pretty, now that I look at it again, like now that I've had some time away from it, I mean, it's not bad. It's not a bad build, and it probably resembles more. I think I actually looked at a picture of Hyrule Castle when building it, or multiple pictures of Hyrule Castle when building that version, which I didn't do for the new version that I showcased in episode 1. So maybe the first castle version is more of a representation of a actual Hyrule Castle in a Zelda game, but the new one, I just feel like it's more grand, has more depth. This one is just kind of more flat. Like I struggled to find the words to describe this in episode 1, so I'll stop there. If you want to hear my fumbling around trying to describe why I didn't like that castle, go back to episode 1. But back to the Temple of Time. Does anyone else have any way of filling these little gaps in buildings without having to do what I'm doing here on screen? If so, please let me know. I find it to be quite the pain in the ass to try to fill in those little gaps with the grid pieces, or the non-grid pieces for that matter. And then if you try to angle the non-grid pieces, like it just like it looks wonky when compared to the other wall structure that you've already got up. The bricks are laid out different, which I guess ultimately it doesn't totally matter for something like this, because like nobody is going to be flying up to the top of this building to check out the alignment of bricks or lack of alignment of bricks. But my OCD brain just focuses on that when I'm building it. Anyways, I had a lot of fun building this. This was like my first like really in-depth project outside of that first castle. But again, that when I was building the castle, it was more just like, how do you play this game, and how do I control everything, and how can pieces fit together, blah blah blah. This is more like, okay, I know how the game works, at least to an extent. I've built something already. Now I really want to like test how I'm learning and developing as a creator in this game, and having the reference of Zelda like either in my mind, like I mentioned, from memories of playing the game Ocarina of Time as a kid, or other games played all the Zelda games. I'm a huge Zelda fan. So having like either the references in my mind or actual images that I can look at while building is super helpful, rather than just having to come up with ideas like off the top of my head, which I would definitely want to do more of as I go in this game. But right now I'm having a lot of fun figuring out ways to build out the world of Zelda in this theme park. It's been really fun. Every night I'm playing after my kids go to bed. I'm just spending hours up in my office just building and building and building and not sleeping. I don't remember what I was just saying. As you're watching now in this stage of the build, like I didn't intend for this to be part of a ride. I was just kind of building like a set piece, if you will. But then I think like right around here in the build, like I start to realize this would be kind of cool if I put like a drop tower in, like Tower of Terror type of deal. So I start to kind of hollow out the middle, which takes some rearranging towards the top. And I'll pull in one of the flat rides kind of next to it. I don't know. Yeah, here we go. To kind of see where the ride will stop. And then I end up putting in automatic windows to open when the thing stops at the top, so the riders can get a full look of the park when they get up top there. And originally I had it just facing the front, but then I ended up doing like kind of like a 360, not 360 because it's a square and I only have it on the sides. But like I have 4 windows on each side of that square at the top where they all open at the top. So all riders on the drop tower can see the overlook of the park before they drop to their death. Figuring out the sequence triggers too has been kind of a challenge. Just figuring out like how many seconds do I need to delay on the ride for it to pop up. You know, the coaster is a little bit different. I'm building like as we speak. Well, not as we speak. I'm talking to you guys in real time in my real life of playing this game. I am currently working on a Dompe coaster build, dark ride sort of thing, where it's a lot easier to set up the triggers because you can kind of drag exactly where you want that trigger sequence to start, and then go from there. With the flat ride, unless I'm missing something, I don't think they have that feature, so I kind of just have to like time it and make sure like, okay, at this pause at the top the windows need to open. So yeah, it's been kind of a challenge, but it's also fun, and it's really cool to have this feature in the game, and it opens up a lot of doors in terms of creativity and kind of like how you want to build things. So I'm excited. The Dompe coaster has been a ton of fun. I'm pretty excited about that. Normally I would just cut out this like window flapping open goofiness here, but like I said, the footage was corrupted, so I need to have something proving that I actually built this thing, and kind of the process behind it. So you're seeing this building just a bit, blit, 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 blit. So apologies for that. As I was going, I was kind of thinking like, okay, this needs more depth up here. I need to, figure out how to make it look more than just rectangles going up into the sky, and more of like an actual kind of like this, what the Temple of Time is kind of like a church building, I guess, right? I'm pretty sure in the first episode I mentioned where I got these spires from. If I threw it up in the first episode, I'll throw it up here too. Not vomit, I'm just gonna put it up on screen. It's a weird way of saying it. But this guy here made this tower structure that had the spires on top, so I kind of grabbed that and recolored it. And that was me kind of trying to figure out how people are doing these things in the game. So super helpful. I love the workshop. Like, I'm learning so much just from seeing other people, obviously on YouTube, but also in the workshop, just like kind of taking things apart that people build and figure out, oh, that's how you do that. You can use this piece for that. It's been interesting. It's been fun. It's been eye-opening, if you will. But yeah, that's where I got those roofs. I did not create those roofs myself. I did use that technique that this person used, specifically like with the sword thing at the top, with that silver piece at the top. I thought that was a genius idea. I used it in the castle in the first episode. Probably won't be the last time I use that. And unfortunately, that is the end of the Temple of Time build. But I'm gonna, like I said, I have the queue theming footage here that you're seeing, so you can see the final build of the final product of the actual building while I build out this queue. But yeah, apologies. I wish I had the rest of it, but it just got corrupted. And then I deleted. I was trying to clear space on my computer, so I deleted all like the raw footage of me building it after I had edited it down in the time lapse, only to then realize that the time lapse was corrupted. So yeah, that sucked. But what can you do? Things happen. So when I first built the Temple of Time in that first park that we were seeing in the time lapse earlier, I had built like this. So you know in Ocarina of Time where you go in that back building and all the sages are there and you have like the pedestal with the Master Sword and that's how you grow up to become adult Link, blah blah blah. Well, I had like a whole pedestal created with a really big kind of nice indoor structure for like restaurants and quick service restaurants and that sort of thing in a seating area. I don't know if I'm going to incorporate that into this. I have the blueprint saved, I believe. But I just don't want to build, like, I feel like everything I've built so far to this point has been like a lot of like restaurants and stuff. And I don't want to, I'm not building like a strip mall with restaurants and whatnot. I'm building a theme park, so I want more rides to be incorporated into this. So not sure if I'll include it. I'll probably throw up some footage on screen here of me building it and maybe the finished product. I thought it was really cool. I had a ton of fun building that too. But yeah, just to kind of throw it out there, like I had that because as you exit the Temple of Time ride itself, I built like that church kind of feel in the back where you would walk out and then across the way you would see the Master Sword in that circular structure of the restaurant. You can go in there and grab some food after, you know, free falling from the sky in a Zelda Temple of Time structure tower thing. Alright, well there you have it. Here is the Temple of Time drop tower. Again, I apologize for not having the full build on here if anyone was, you know, really eager to see the entire build from start to finish. I wish I could show that process. Unfortunately, yeah, it just got corrupted. But here is the final product. Again, I'm pretty proud of this. I thought it came out really, really nice and pretty spot on in terms of like referencing the Ocarina of Time, Temple of Time. Let me know what you guys think. If you think this is good, if I missed anything, if I could have done anything better. If you have any tips for building as you watch like how I build, please let me know. I'm open to advice and I'm still learning. I'm a new Planet Coaster player. I'm a new PC player for that matter. So yeah, just any tips and advice, certainly welcome. Would love feedback on this. But yeah, stay tuned for episode 3. I think in episode 1 I lied and said I would be building like a roller coaster. I'd mentioned earlier that I'm building that Dompe coaster, but it's not ready yet. So I actually built out a train station as well as the Song of Storms windmill themed up around a flat ride, which I was excited about. So hopefully you guys will enjoy that. But anyways, that's it for me. Hope you enjoy. Subscribe, like, comment, let me know what you think. And I hope to see you in episode 3. Goodbye.